Hello my scrappy friends, and welcome back to Nat Scraps. For all of you that have been leaving me messages and all that kind of jazz, thank you so much. If you're new here, my name is Natalie Koenig. What our new series is we've just finished in September. Our new series is using the Christmas Story Scrapbooking Kit along with a few things. So what you see at the moment is my screen from my website, and that has the Christmas morning kit there, and it goes through and shows you the three layouts that you can create with that kit. If you want to follow the instructions, I'm not that great at following instructions, so I don't tend to. But you can also see the other things in the collection. So you can see the Christmas Story stamps. This stamp in particular is very, very cute. It has a beautiful Christmas tree with some ornaments that you can build up and the word Christmas there. There is also a card making kit which is really beautiful. So I'll find that one here. And this is what it looks like when you go onto your website. You can search by categories, or you can search by a product name or code. And this is the scrapbooking kit and the card making kit, sorry, and the 4 cards that are in this kit are the following. So these 4 here. So just sort of start you off with that. Where I am going to take you is over to Design Space, where I've chosen one of the elements from the scrapbooking kit that I've worked on, and I've kind of done a mock-up of the page that I'm going to create. So we're going to jump on over to that, and I will see you there. Here's what we're up to. We are going to create the first layout with the Christmas Story collection. I have a circle. This is from, I believe, layout 2. Instead of splitting this circle over 2 pages, I'm actually making a single page. Now, I have done the video where I've shown everything that I'm using to create this. So it includes the Christmas Story scrapbooking kit, the extra embellishment pack, and the Picture My Life cards. So I have quite a lot to work with this time. I sometimes just work with the kit and the Picture My Life cards, but I've added in those embellishments this time, and I'm going to see how many layouts I can get. Now you'll see on my Design Space here that I have created a circle that is 9.5 by 9.5, which is the size of this circle here. I've brought in the digital elements from the Christmas Story, and I've created them so that they will go around this circle. So I have 3 embellishments. I have changed up the colors a little bit on bits and pieces of them, and then I will have a photo mat here that will go in the center. Now I haven't actually chosen the color of my photo mat. I'm debating whether I go Harbour or I go the Pine. I'm not quite sure, but I am going to go off and I will create these elements, and I will come back and check in with you. Okay, future me here. I cut a heap of that out because I fussed and fiddled for ages and ages until I had everything just about where I wanted it, and I was happy, and you guys did not need to be put through the pain of that. And here we go on from here. Okay, so where we're at is we have our layout there. I've cut a photo mat from the Harbour paper and I'm popping that on. The one thing I'm not overly happy about at this stage is that it's very bare around that outside edge. It needs a frame, it needs something doing to it. I can't just leave it like that. So I'm having a little think here of what I'm going to do. And while I'm thinking about that, I'm also going to pop on a second photo. So I'm going to add another 3x3 photo mat and pop that on there. Now I'm debating whether to blend this with Harbour or Pine. I have a bit of a think and I do a little bit of a test. Ultimately, I end up going for a combination of both. So I actually add both Pine and Harbour to this. And you can see Harbour in some spots, you can see Pine in other spots. It's very much a mixture, and I do a little test here first on this, and that's the Harbour, although it does look very blue right there, and then that's where I go over it with the Pine, and I think, yep, both will do. So don't be afraid to do that. If you're in between colors and you want a little bit of both in that blending, you can go through, you can sort of do little patches. So say skip a section, another section, skip a section, or you can do what I'm doing here. It's both edges all with the same. Now I do a big stuff up here in a second. You'll see me go doink and get really annoyed with myself. I do try to pick a little bit of that color up with a bit of wet paper, but there was really no go with that. So I will fix that right towards the end of the video, the end of the layout. There's sort of two sections there. I've got my thumb over one section, there's another big section at the bottom, and I'm kind of look at that and I think I'll fix that up later. Now I've got that on, I am going to glue that circle down. Now I do bring in the ruler for a second and think I'm going to get this nice and absolutely centered, and then I just go, you know what, just put it down. So I've done a couple of little marks where I want to be, because obviously I have to turn it over to add some glue to the back and go from there. And popping that down. Thrilling, I know, guys. You've been waiting all day for that to happen, haven't you? I have got this on ultra fast speed, but it still ended up being quite a long video, and I do apologize for that. I'm trying to get them a little bit more shorter and a little bit more concise, but I'm struggling with that one. Here I'm just putting some foam underneath those two photo mats to lift them up a little bit, and then I'm going to adhere them to the page also. Some people like the longer videos, they like a bit more detail. I particularly like seeing people finish off pages to see how they do those small details right at the end. Some people don't want to see those details, they want to just see what papers go where. But to me, it's the finishing details. Like, paper goes where it goes, but it's the little details right on the end for me. So now that I've got that on there, I'm just going to fiddle a little bit again and see where all these leaves go back. It's a bit like pull it apart, put it back together, pull it apart and put it back together. Here I am blending around the outside of the large leaves with the Harbour ink, and I cut heaps of that out for you guys because it did take a little time to do. And then I am going to magic mount those up at the end leaves and glue them at the leaves closest to the center. Now I've done this on all of the leaves, not just the ones at the bottom. The main difference is the blending of the smaller leaves I did with the pine instead of that Harbour. One of the things I find too when you blend those leaves up is that it gives a little bit of dimension because of the color, but you also rough it up a little bit so they're not so fat, because just holding on to it you kind of bend and shuffle it around a little bit. Here I'm doing a little bit of bending of that bow. I popped it over a pen and just kind of rolled it until the bow was kind of rolling over it and made it a little bit more shaped. I'm popping magic mount just where I want the high parts to be on that bow, and then attaching that to the page. Adding glue at the bits that I want to stick down. And then, as I said before, it's a bit of rinse and repeat here. So going in with the pine, and these little leaves, I will not lie, they were a little bit time consuming and a little bit of a pain, but we got there. I decided that I'm still want a little bit more around that outside edge, that is still just a little bit too light. So I'm going to bring in my splatter box, and I'm stumbling over those words, and I'm going to use a shimmer brush here, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the page. You can see it's a new one, so it took a little bit of squeezing to get out, and then I'm going to tap that, and I start off tapping quite lightly, and then I go a little bit heavier, and then I go a little bit heavier again, until I've got what I think is the right amount of splatter. And again, that's just taking that white space and making it a little bit less noticeable around the outside edges. Now we'll go back in. You did see there, I pointed down that it got splatter all over my photo mat. It's a photo mat. It's going to have a photo over the top over it. It will be fine, but there was a bit of splatter here and there. And as I said before, just a bit of rinse and repeat. Sorry guys, stumbling over my words. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking for a piece of paper to go in the spots that I did that little bit of too heavy ink in when I blended the outside edges. So I'm really looking for something that I can fix this issue I created. I found this Picture My Life card, and it has all the Harbour colours that I have, and I think that that's going to work the best out of all of them. So what I'm going to do after I've put those couple of stray stars on is cut those little bits and then tape them into position at the back. So I've ripped a little hole, made that folded back a little bit, and then attached the paper behind. I see the one missing star I had there, right? It just briefly a moment ago, and I didn't know where that one went, but obviously it's stuck to the back of the layout there. And that does fix the problem. Now, it's not a perfect solution. The perfect solution was not to make the mistake in the first place, and to have made them where they would be nice and evenly spread out. I would have had the little patches in different sections if it was up to me, but such is life. I'm having a little look where my title is going to go, and watching the video back as I was editing, I'm like, why did I not put that title over that 3x3 photo and have it lifted up? So it sort of went just over the top of that and onto the other photo mat. But that's where it went, and that's where it's going to stay. I cut the story off the bottom of that and then just trimmed that neatly and magic foam tape that at the bottom, and then I also added foam tape to the one at the top. Now I've dove into my stash of liquid pearls and stickles, and I pulled out lots of different colors and tried lots and lots of different ones that I had. I have quite a stash of these that I've had for years and years, and I don't use them enough. And in this series, I use them on each of the layouts, and I forgot how fantastic they are at adding small details to pages. They are absolutely brilliant. So I went with the Ancient Gold and, funnily enough, the Christmas Red. Now I tried everything else, and then finally the last one I did try was that Christmas Red, and that's what we went for. And it's a sparkly, it's the stickles, and it's sparkly and has nice little bit of shine, and the Ancient Gold is just, it just goes with everything else. So, and you'll see here I'm just using in tiny dots, and when you get to the close-ups at the end, you'll have a better idea of how that actually looks on the page. And I will pop in a few photos as well, so right at the end that will have some still shots of both the tiny little details and the page. So this is pretty much the final things. The one thing I think I didn't do until after I had completely finished this page and put it away was I found that the bows that I'd made for the two ornaments out of gold ribbon I had left somewhere over on one end of my bench. So in the shots right at the end, you'll see there that I have some very fine gold ribbon, gold twine tied into little bows on those ornaments. So while I'm finally finishing this little bit off, I just want to thank you all guys. If you've made it this far, then thank you so much for watching this video. Please think about hitting the like and subscribe button. Think about sharing this with your friends, your close my heart customers. Feel free to share this everywhere. I'm getting really, really close to 300 subscribers. I know that's tiny and people will laugh at me, but for me, that is a goal that I wanted to get to by the end of the year, and it looks like I'm going to make it. So I really love your support, and thank you very much for all the support that you guys do give me. Round of applause to you guys. In a moment, we're going to slow down. We're going to do the slow shot and then those final photos. But as we do that, I am going to leave you with some music to play you out. Thanks again, guys. Love you all. Bye.